1, 2, 3. In the time it took me to count to 3, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, 21 women have just become the victim of a violent crime. Many suffer in silence without confiding in family or friends. They don't reach out for help from the hospital or police. By learning how to defend yourself, women can stop themselves from becoming another statistic. Women are typically physically smaller than men. With proper knowledge and action, we can actually see some of these statistics go down. The National Center for Injury Prevention and the CDC issue a report every year called Findings from the National Violence Against Women Survey. In this survey, they have found that 54% of rape victims were younger than the age of 18. Approximately 5 million women are stalked and abused in the United States every year. 64% of women victimized are done so by a current or former husband, a cohabiting partner, or even a date. These stats, however, do not mean that all women must be a victim. Women have a variety of ways to defend themselves. So let's look at some of those ways. Self-defense class is a great way for a woman to learn how to defend herself. University of Oregon study by Jocelyn Holyander found that women who took a self-defense class were less than half as likely as women who did not take any classes to be a victim of abuse. It's actually where my aide comes in. If you look here, this is a study done that we just talked about by Holyander, and this is 1 year after the defense class. The markings in red are the women that took the self-defense class, in blue, while the markings in red are the women that never took any sort of self-defense class. And you can find the reported instances of sexual contact, corrosion, attempted rape, and even rape are dramatically different. And what I think is most interesting is there were absolutely no cases of rape in any of the women who had actually taken a class. The burden, skipped a page. Kathleen Basile for the CDC in the New England Journal of Medicine argues that self-defense classes place the burden of prevention on potential victims while actually obscuring the responsibility for the perpetrators. The problem with this approach is that it means women should rely on absolutely no one or the police when they need help. Who is it that we want to be responsible for our safety? The Bureau of Justice Statistics shows that in 28% of violent crimes, police did arrive within 5 minutes of being called. In 33% of violent crimes, police took between 11 minutes and 1 hour to respond to calls for help. As someone once said, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away. Another method for defense is proper gun training. Authors Gertz and Kleck of the book Armed Resistance to Crime found that 200,000 times a year, women successfully used a gun to defend themselves against abuse. How many times this was actually successful is unknown, as the FBI only keeps stats based on where the most serious offense occurs. Some argue that more guns equal more crimes, but a recent study published in the Harvard Journal of Law and Public Policy concluded there is a negative correlation between gun ownership and violent crime. Basically, more guns equals less crimes. So what can women do to keep themselves safe? They can enroll in a self-defense class, can always be aware of their surroundings, always walk in at least pairs, if not a larger group, enroll in a firearm defense class, or even enroll in a martial arts class. While this is a real issue and is something that will not go away overnight, by showing women they have the ability to fight back and to refuse to become a victim, we are taking away the power from the abuser and instead placing it where the power actually belongs and on the potentially abused. Imagine, if you would, a world in which all women had the tools and know-how to fight back, to refuse to become a victim. We hear so much talk about empowering our daughters to know their worth and value. I say we empower all women to know their value and to learn to stand up for it.